Okay, welcome. It's Friday, 29 April, year of our Lord 2022. It's War Room Battleground. We've got a quite an intense show today and really packed from the beginning to the end, so let's get on with it. We just finished in the last hour with the great Lou Dobbs on this really unseemly attack by Morning Mika and Williamson in the National Review on the great Lou Dobbs, but I think Lou did a pretty good job at batting it back. Want to now go out to Nebraska. A War Room audience favorite, Charles Herbster. He's in a very tough primary, a Republican primary for the governorship. Charles, the weather's kind of kicked up as it often does out in the Cornhusker State. The rally's been moved to Sunday, but can you tell folks about the rally? I want to make sure as many people in our audience can get there as possible. Tell us what's going to go on Sunday.
Well, obviously, we were going to have the rally tonight, and it was going to be a fabulous rally in Greenwood. The president and I have been on the phone several times today. We continue to look at the weather. He was all excited about coming. We had a great crowd. We had a lot more people tonight, but the weather started to really act up. It's over Grand Island right now, and at 7 o'clock, when the president and I were going to go on, it looked like the possibility of 50 to 60 mile an hour winds, maybe some hail, tornadoes. And so about an hour and a half ago, the president and I decided just before he boarded the plane that the most important thing was not the message of the rally. The most important thing is the safety of every person that's there. So we mutually made the decision together, you know what, let's be sure that everybody's safe and let's do it Sunday night. Rally's going to start Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. The president will be on at 5 o'clock. But you know, Steve, the greatest thing about what happened today, even though we had to postpone the rally, is the fact that Nebraska is getting rain. And our ranchers and farmers out west, I was out west last week, over 100,000 acres of burnt. So many concerns about the dry weather and more ground that was going to be burnt if somebody started a fire, electrical wire, or lightning. So if we can keep from getting heavy wind tonight and hail, let me tell you, it's a blessing. We need rain in Nebraska. So praise the Lord. And we're going to have an incredible, incredible event on Sunday with the Donald J. Trump rally.
Charles, I just want to go again. How do people, it's going to be 2 o'clock, president will come on at 5. Where do people go right now to find out about that and to make their plans to join you guys on Sunday? Where do they go?
They can go to the internet and it'll be all there. The information, the same thing that we've had all week long. We're just going to reverse the date. Everything's going to be up and ready to go. And of course, we appreciate you taking the time to help us make sure that everybody knows that it's changed and the date's on Sunday. And I think the great thing about Sunday is it's going to give you more opportunity for people to come because they're not going to be competing with jobs in school.
Listen, obviously our audience you're a big favorite of the audience ever since the first time you came on the show. You were down at the border and talking about every state, a border state, every city, a border town, and all the problems we've had with the invasion of the southern border. But one of the things I think has caught people by surprise is this kind of vitriol that continues to come from the Ricketts family, quite frankly, and the governor out there about you personally. Can you just frame this for us? I mean, what's going on? I mean, you're a guy that's pure MAGA. You've got the endorsement of Donald J. Trump. You've got a team out there. You've got my close colleague, almost like a brother to me, Dave Bossie, and others that Kellyanne, people that we really respect, all out there. And people are kind of confused. They don't understand these relentless attacks coming from Governor Ricketts.
Well, first of all, Dave Bossie says hi to you, Steve, because he's in the studio with me today, and Kellyanne. And so we had some great conversation about the two of you and all the things you've done together. Let me just say this. I, like Donald Trump, am not a politician, have never held office. I'm not part of the establishment. I'm not part of the swamp. And unfortunately, Nebraska has a swamp. They have a powerful establishment that is pretty well headed up by the Ricketts family and Governor Ricketts. He has selected another person that they want to make sure is in the governor's seat when this election is over, when the primary, which is just 12 days away. And so, yes, he's beat on everything that he could possibly do. But it's a playbook from the past, Steve. You've seen it. Look what they did to Clarence Thomas. Look what they did to Donald J. Trump. Look what they did to Brett Kavanaugh. Now it's Charles W. Herbster. You know what? If I wasn't leading in the polls, if they weren't afraid that I was going to be the next governor, we wouldn't be having this issue. But I am leading the polls, have consistently leading the polls. Kellyanne Conway is probably the best pollster there is in the United States of America. And they're not going to
Okay, we just had Charles just froze. We'll hopefully unfreeze that in a second. He's got Dave Bossie. They're out in Nebraska. You know, what's interesting is that he's the endorsed candidate of President Trump, and you really should be talking policy issues. What really I think upsets people is when you start dredging up this stuff, and whether, you know, where it comes from, who knows. But, you know, President Trump went through these attacks nonstop. Do I have Boris? Can we go to Boris? We'll go back to Charles when we unfreeze that. Here's the thing: is that what are the policy differences? You know, what's the leadership differences here? Is it just about these personal attacks, which I think people get tiresome? Do we have Boris? Can we get Boris up? Okay, let's go ahead and say we're going to try to get Boris Epshteyn. We've got a packed show today. We got Jay Corman is going to come in from Pennsylvania. We've got Blake Masters in Arizona. So it's going to be absolutely jam packed. Okay, I guess I'll give you a monologue right now since we're having some technical problems. We've got Charles Herbster out in Nebraska. And remember what's happened with Herbster. By the way, as soon as you get Boris, let me know. We'll bring Boris in for part of this conversation. Charles Herbster in Nebraska. You got Kellyanne Conway out there. You got Dave Boss. You got other people working on their campaign. Hang on for a second. What we got here? Yes, let's go ahead and bring Boris up. Even if he's on the phone, we'll bring Boris up. It's supposed to be a huge rally today, but because of weather, it was going to be up to 50-mile-an-hour winds. I think it was 60-mile-an-hour winds. What they've decided is to push this rally till Sunday. It's going to be 2:00 on Sunday, and then President Trump will come on at 5:00. So the rally, this massive rally they're going to have in Nebraska for Charles Herbster has been pushed, and Charles is going to join as soon as we get this technical problem worked out. Boris, can you hear me? Can we bring Boris in?
Yeah, sorry, I had a call I had to take that I could not take, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got it. One of those. So Boris, here's the thing: is that, and as soon as we get Jay Corman or Charles Herbster back up, Charles is back up. Okay, Boris, hang over a second. I'm gonna bring Charles up for a second.
I'm just a pretty face here for a couple of seconds. That's it.
You just fell. Charles, what are the policy differences between you and the Ricketts? This is what I don't understand. Why they're attacking you personally, but walk me through the policy differences. Because Trump's a supporter of yours. President Trump has endorsed you, and I think what the question people have is, what is the difference between what do the Ricketts want and what does Charles Herbster want? That the Ricketts have made such a big deal to make this so personal to basically try to destroy you.
Well, I think it's simply part of the establishment, Steve. That's what we're talking about. I don't think there's a huge difference in the policy, except it's called the establishment wants to control the next 8 years of the state of Nebraska. They want to control the Nebraska Republican Party. That's where they're at now. They've got a hand-picked person in Jim Pillen that they've selected that they want to make sure gets elected to be the next governor. And they know that they cannot control me, just like we couldn't control Donald J. Trump. He made the right decisions for America. He was a businessman. He was not a politician. I have 6 businesses in 5 different states. I'm a farmer. I'm a rancher. I'm exactly what Nebraska is looking for in their next governor, someone who's going to not do the things for the people, but are going to do the right decisions for the masses and the small farmers, ranchers, the independent business people on every street corner from Sidney, Nebraska to Omaha.
Charles, after the rally on Sunday, and I want to repeat, I want everybody to go out to the site and check it out, but the rally will start at 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. President Trump will take the stage at 5 p.m. The rally pushed today because of inclement weather, including high winds, potential for hail, all that. Charles, after the rally on Sunday, Walk us through the next 10 days, because then you're about 10 days away from the election. Walk us through what's your campaign going to be like, where are you going to go, what are you going to focus on?
Every day for the next 10 days after the rally on Sunday night, we are going to be clear across the state from the west to the east and back. We're going to be doing meet and greets. We've been doing that all last week. Every room was full. We're going to be making 4 to 5 stops every single day, talking about making Nebraska great again, talking about redoing our tax.
I think he froze again. Let's go to Boris. Let's see if we can't reboot it. Let's see if we can get him on the phone. Can we get Boris back up?
I'm back.
Boris, unfortunately, we had another.
Oh,
is that Charles? I tell you what, just we're going to have to. Charles, you're freezing every other second, so we're going to try to reboot you. Let's get Boris Epshteyn up.
hey, I'm here.
Hey, so Boris, tell me about Trump has stepped into Nebraska. It's a governor's race. It's highly contested. You've got obviously a difference in political philosophies, and one guy's an establishment. One guy is kind of MAGA. That's Charles Herbster. President Trump has endorsed this guy. You got Dave Boss. You got Kellyanne Conway. You got all that. What is I don't understand why the Ricketts decide to take a page out of the left-wing playbook and attack, like President Trump was attacked relentlessly with all this nonsense. Why did the Ricketts, and particularly Pete Ricketts, that aspires to higher office, why does that happen?
The left-wing playbook, the Karl Rove playbook, the way they attacked Governor Greitens. This is what you see happen when anything is close to being positive for the candidate they oppose, be it the primary or some big news that a reporter come. In the case of Governor Greitens was the fact that he had been at Mar-a-Lago. In the case of Charles Herbster, the primary coming up. If news drops right before then, that's super negative. You've got to look at it and see, okay, that's the same playbook. And we've seen it over and over and over again, going back to, when that playbook was tried to be used against President Trump in 2016, Steve, when a lot of people abandoned ship, but the two people on, talking to each other right now is about, you, me, 3 others left in that office, and President Trump and his Twitter account continuing to fight. And by the way, 2 of the people who continued to fight were Dave Bosse and Kellyanne Conway, when the left and Hillary Clinton tried to use that same tired playbook against President Trump. So that's what's going on. It is disappointing that that's the kind of politics that is being used in Nebraska. What they should do is run the race out on the merits. Let's have it out. Let's have it out on policy. If they don't think Charles Herbster is the best candidate for some reason, well, let's hear why. Let's hear their reasoning. Unfortunately, the reasoning seems to be an ongoing grift, that they want somebody from the establishment in there to keep grifting, and that's not the way that MAGA rolls. MAGA has taken over the Republican Party, and MAGA will not accept that old line thinking.
And I want to go to specifically to the Ricketts. Joe Ricketts is a great guy. Todd Ricketts is a great guy. I know Pete, but this brings up, for people that have been with President Trump for a while, this brings up bad memories. And what it brings up bad memories is that when all the money that the Ricketts put into the Never Trump movement to destroy President Trump, let's just be blunt about it, okay? And they got beaten, and they got beaten badly, and then all of a sudden they flipped and became big parts of the Trump train. I mean, I remember Joe Ricketts when Romney lost to Obama. He wanted to leave the country, go to New Zealand, and buy up half of New Zealand and go there. I actually talked to him. I said, "Are you ridiculous? We're going to turn this thing around." So you see this kind of panic of these billionaires, but then to come after a guy, and particularly when President Trump has endorsed somebody, and you take this old playbook and you come at them with these people that are hired by you. And all I can say to the Ricketts and the Ricketts advisors, and they know who they are, is my mom used to tell me, people in glass houses should not throw stones. And this one's really, really got me worked up. Because Charles Herbster is a decent, hardworking guy. He got President Trump's endorsement. The other guy didn't. And Pete Ricketts got to understand it is what it is. And if you come after a guy for policy, if you come after him for leadership, you come with this, that. Sure. But to bring up the playbook that they tried to destroy President Trump after President Trump endorsed somebody, no offense, you're asking for trouble. And I think the Ricketts know they don't want trouble from the war room or Steve Bannon. And this one has particularly gotten a burr under my side.
Bannon's coming in hot. I like it. Coming in hot.
No, it's upset me no end. And if they think that these kind of tactics that people around them and some of these bad advisors they've got around them, and they've got some bad advisors, is going to work. I got to tell them another thing's coming. And so they need to back off. Pete Ricketts needs to back off, and he's not going to back off. Then we'll see how this plays out. Okay? Because two can play this game.
Is that you're seeing these tactics being used against MAGA candidates. MAGA doesn't play that game. We don't do that. We come at you straight up. We get in your face. Our candidates, the Herbsters, the Grinds, Blake Masters.
Let me just tell. Pete Ricketts never earned a nickel in his life. Let me just cut to the chase. His old man's financed the whole thing. And let me tell Joe Ricketts, this keeps up. I know you got great ambitions for your son in national office. Will not happen. Okay? Will not happen. I think these attacks and it turns out all these people work for him, and he's been adamant about this. When President Trump endorses somebody, Charles Herbster's not going to step down from this race. He's going to see this race through. And it should be for the people in Nebraska to decide whether they want Herbster or the other guy in this primary. But these kind of tactics are not, and I got to tell you, Joe Ricketts thinks he's going to throw his money around to back Pete Ricketts, and Todd Ricketts going to, hey, they know me. They know I don't back down 1 second. And when I see President Trump come out and endorse somebody, and then see people who funded the Never Trump movement, until they were defeated and had their nose rubbed in it, and then came back to us like little broken people. Could they be part of this? Todd Ricketts. And then come and pull this stunt again? It's outrageous. It's outrageous. Let me tell you something. MAGA doesn't back down. We didn't back down in 2016. We're never backing down. Okay? And now our movement's ascendant, and you've gone, and this is not about Herbster. This is about Donald J. Trump. President Trump endorsed somebody, and you went out and you went against them in the sleaziest way possible. And let me just say this one more time and write it down. People in glass houses should not throw stones. Okay? I think we said enough on this. I think we got something great from Jake Corman. I want to play that.
Something, Steve. You know,
I'm trying to get. I think I've dropped enough hints. I think I've.
Nobody's called me a great thinker, but even I'm starting to pick up. I'm not sure, but I'm starting to pick up some hints. I think Steve Bannon's getting us something.
Bossy's out in Nebraska. He can get Herbster up to speed. No, I want to play. We got the great Jake Corman is up. Jake's. We got something we're going to play. Jake Memphis. Let's go ahead and play Jake Corman's introduction. I'll bring in Jake Corman.
I know Pennsylvania, and I know a fighter when I see one. Jake Corman is the true America First fighter in this election for governor. Jake is pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, and pro-parents. Jake is leading the audit into the 2020 elections, and he'll beat the woke liberals. Others are pretending. Jake Corman, he's delivering. Conservative, courageous. He'll put Pennsylvania first.
Okay, let's bring in Jake Corman now, President Pro Tem of the Senate, the individual who, quite frankly, wanted the electors sent back to Pennsylvania Assembly and the Senate so they could review the process and see if these things should be certified. Jake, let me just start off the bat. The hit on you that would come from your opponents is that, hey, Jake Corman's a nice guy, but Jake Corman, in fact, is not a fighter and has actually blinked in this whole issue of 3 November. What say you, sir?
We've been fighting since 3 November. I called for an audit then. I called for the secretary's resignation. I'm the only one, even though my party didn't want me to do it, is doing the audit in the Senate. We've sent out subpoenas. I called just recently for the attorney general and the governor to back down because they're wasting taxpayer dollars. But even though people didn't want me to do this, I'm still fighting because we have to get to the bottom of it. We have to make sure that we have elections that are secure. And so we will keep fighting. We'll fight to the end. And I think that's what Kellyanne was trying to say in that ad. He's been a good friend. And so I'm looking forward to it. We're going to keep fighting to the end.
Okay, you got a couple of weeks to go. Make the case for this audience, because this is a MAGA audience. Make the case why sure. At the end of the day, you believe that you're best positioned to take on Shapiro. Because here's the reality. We got to win the governorship of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. 100%. I think Boris would agree with me. The one thing we cannot have is Josh Shapiro as governor of the Commonwealth for a whole host of reasons. Number one, he's been the single worst AG in the country about 3 November. He's fought us every step of the way of trying to get to the bottom of the truth. So make the case of why Jake Corman would be the best to go on a statewide basis in Pennsylvania against Josh Shapiro.
100% the best person. Doug Mastriano won't win in the general election. He'll lose. And the other candidates, even if they could beat Josh Shapiro, can't deliver. I'm the one candidate that has experience. I'm the one candidate that's been working on this issue. The first thing I did as president pro tem was set up an election integrity committee. I passed a bill that would have would have put voter ID into place. I want to pass a bill to get rid of Dropbox. I'm going to keep this fight going. I'm the one that knows how to get things done. I've had experience getting things done. I've taken on Tom Wolf, got rid of his mask mandates, got rid of his illegal shutdowns, and defeated them. But not only have I taken on the big issues, I've won the big issues. And so I'm the person to be in the right spot at the right time to take on all these big issues and deliver. So I can beat Josh Shapiro because it's going to be a great Republican year. And I'm the candidate that knows how to defeat Josh Shapiro because I'm the one who has experience, who can debate him on all the issues, can take them on, can raise the money that he can raise. So we can win. But then winning is only part of the issue, Steve. We have to then deliver. We have to deliver results. You look back at 2010 when Republicans won, running against Obamacare, then Republicans didn't deliver. If we're going to have a majority party moving forward, we have to deliver results. And I'm the guy who can deliver results. I've had a career of taking on the big issues and winning them, taking on the big special interests like PSCA, like the trial bar, and winning. I even took on the NCAA and defeated them. So, that's what you want. You want someone who's going to be not afraid of taking on the big issues. I'm that guy.
Okay, Jake, you're hurtling towards the conclusion of this race in a couple of weeks. Walk through where people can find you, like next week. What are the events? How can people? Because I think, quite frankly, what you need is more exposure to the MAGA base and more people coming out and meeting you and asking the hard questions. Okay, asking the tough questions. Because I keep saying, because we're very close to a lot of guys. We like you a lot. We like Doug Mastriano. They got some great, Lou Barletti, got some great guys in this race. But it comes down to one thing. Who can take on Josh Shapiro? Because this is going to be absolutely essential. You got to win the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So where are you going to be and how can people get access to you?
100%. Again, winning is key and then delivering is secondary. The key as well, because you have to deliver. Doug Mastriano cannot win the general election. That's clear. Every poll shows he cannot win the general election. He might be a nice guy to some people. He may have taken on some issues people care about. He cannot win. I'm the guy who can win, and I'm the guy who can deliver. So we're all over the state. I'm on a bus right now, as you can probably see. We're in western Pennsylvania today. We'll be in central Pennsylvania tomorrow. We're going to be in southeastern Pennsylvania the next day. Anybody wants to contact me, I'm open book. I'm happy to talk to anyone. We're doing town meetings, whatever it takes. I'll be out there campaigning door to door, making sure people understand what the message is. And I'm the most successful candidate out here. I'm the one that has the bus, traveling around all parts of Pennsylvania to make sure that people know where I'm coming from. I'm at a fish fry today in southwestern PA. So that's how I'm getting out to the public as much as I possibly can.
Sir, fantastic. How do people get to find out more about you and how do they find out more about your campaign?
Corman4PA.com is my website. At Corman4PA is where you get me on Twitter. Like I said, we're very active. We're all over the place. We'll continue to do it. We have to deliver. We have to deliver and be successful, and that's why I'm in this race.
Senator Corman, wish we were there at the fish fry, being Catholics on Western Pennsylvania on a Friday evening, but we can't. But we wish you have a great time. Say hi to everybody, and look forward to following you in the next couple of weeks.
Can you get me one of those hats from the guy running for governor in Nebraska? That'd be great. I don't have a hat like that.
I don't know. You got to be Nebraska. You're good without the hat.
Yeah,
you're
fair.
Good without the hat.
Fair.
Jake Corman,
great
thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're bringing Blake Masters. Have a few technical problems today. We're going to bring in Blake after the break. I want to go to Boris for a second. Boris, also want to let our audience know from the first hour, Steve Cortez had to bounce. We had Lou Dobbs, and Cortez is going to join me tomorrow morning. He wants to give an update, Boris, for his time with J.D. Vance going throughout the state. The one thing he told me is that every stop, every person that came up, the whole place was jammed. Everybody's a war room watcher and a fan out there. So we want to thank all of our folks. And but Boris, we got a minute. I want to just the posse, put in perspective how big this Pennsylvania governor's race is. I mean, you got Barletta, great guy. You got Mastriano, great guy. You got Jake Corman. You got three guys. You got some other players too. Those three guys are fighting it out towards the end. How important is it to beat Josh Shapiro?
It's vital to beat Josh Shapiro. It is absolutely vital. It's vital to have somebody who's been willing to take him on. And we were tough on Jake Corman on the show, as recently as end of last summer. But look what he's done since. He's filed a robust power lawsuit against Shapiro. He's gone toe-to-toe. He just put out a fire statement, I think, yesterday, calling on Shapiro to allow for the full forensic audit. You've got his plan of doing an audit as soon as he becomes governor. So I'm very impressed with what Jake Corman's done. I think it's strong. I know a lot of folks in Pennsylvania have other candidates they prefer, and that's fine. We're fighting it out. But here's what I'm going to say. Here's what's vital. Just like Ohio, just like other states, the field for governor in Pennsylvania is fully MAGA. It's fully MAGA. And that is, again, a statement to how strong an ascendant MAGA under the leadership of President Trump is. We are in charge.
Boris, hang on for 1 second. We're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to work out a few kinks in the technical problems we have. Blake Masters is going to join us from Arizona. We're going to be back in a minute. We got Blake Masters in Arizona, Boris Epshteyn. We got a lot of analysis and observations on some of these heated races. Give us a second. Let's get things sorted. We'll be back in the war room in just a moment.
War Room Battleground with Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, welcome back. I want to go right to Boris. We're kind of jammed for time here. Boris, I want to give by the way, Steve Cortez is going to join us tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about his time out with J.D. Vance in Ohio, and particularly the wild enthusiasm of the War Room posse showing up at all the stops, talking to Steve. And I want to go back to Pennsylvania for a second, because look, I understand there's a lot of people in this audience say, hey, look, Jake Corman's not our cup of tea. Jake Corman's not a fighter. He's not true MAGA. And my point is, go to his website, find out where he's going to be, go talk to Jake Corman, ask your questions, see if this guy's if the cut of his jib is something that you like. And most importantly, I think people do have to start thinking about, we got to win this governorship. I mean, right. Josh Shapiro is going to be a tough candidate. He's going to have all the money in the world in back of him. He's a great fundraiser. And the other thing, the dark secret of Pennsylvania, nobody wants to talk about, so let's just get it on the table. Since we're talking about dark secrets in Nebraska, let's bring up some in Pennsylvania.
Here it is again.
There's a lot
on a roll.
No, but Boris, you know this. A lot of the Republican establishment, okay, is essentially in business with Josh Shapiro. He hands out a lot of favors as the attorney general. So you see, that's why you see in this governor's race, you see a lot of the establishments just staying off to the sideline, don't know if they're going to support anybody or not. There's a lot of the business community and a lot of the legal community in Pennsylvania that's essentially in business with Josh Shapiro. And they're comfortable with a radical, leftist, progressive leftist like Josh Shapiro, because they're feeding at the trough. Boris Epshteyn.
There may be a couple of people I'm thinking about who you're referring to, Steve, in terms of Pennsylvania. Okay, there's some people that we may know in common. That's the sad truth. It's the sad truth is that Shapiro's he's built an old Tammany Hall, political machine out there in Pennsylvania, and people are feeding him the trough from the Democrat side and also the establishment Republican side. And yes, that's a major problem. And I agree with you 1,000%, Steve. For folks who are still undecided, by the way, this is one of the, in our experience, it's very unusual to be almost at 50% undecided, 60% open to changing their vote with, a couple of weeks to go. For those of you who haven't made up your mind fully yet, as Steve said, go and learn about the candidates, learn about what they've done, and make the decision for yourself. That's why, as I said earlier about Nebraska, MAGA allows the people to make the decision. MAGA doesn't drop some nonsense on the other candidates and try to play these stupid, childish games. Run the old playbook, Karl Rove playbook against, he had been doing it forever, the thing against McCain in 2000 and so on and so forth. That's not what we do. We put the information in the public square, and that is why the War Room is so powerful, Steve, right? Because the War Room is the public square. That's why everywhere I go in Florida, in Arizona, in New York, in D.C., everywhere I get shout outs, hey, love you in the War Room, God bless Steve Bannon. Because The public square is here, and it is open for everybody to see. And the War Room Posse, and by the way, a lot of people who wouldn't admit to being members of the War Room Posse, the independents and the liberals, come and watch, because this is where you can hear from every single candidate. And they'll tell you, if they're willing to come on, they're going to tell you where they stand, and they're going to try to prove to you that they're the person for the job, which Jay Corman just did. You've got Blake Masters coming up. Blake's a total star out in Arizona. You're obviously everybody from Ohio, folks from Missouri. That is why the War Room is so important. That's why the War Room Posse is so powerful, because this is the town square, and the posse is the population of the town square. It's old school politics, and it's politics at its best, not the dirty nonsense being played by the rhino establishment.
Before I bring Blake in, President Trump actually said something in the Senate race out in Arizona about Brnovich, the existing AG. Do you want to summarize, Boris? Because I know you've been spending a lot of time in Arizona. You were out there, I think, on the afternoon of the 4th. I think you were the first guy that we flew out there to President Trump did, to get on top of things. And I know you spent a lot of time in Arizona. You've had a house out there. Brnovich is, I think it's just the reality. He's not a favorite of President Trump. Would you say that?
1,000%. And I've spent a lot of time out there. I was out there, as you said, Steve, I believe in 24, maybe 36 hours of the evening of 3 November 2020, back when AG Brnovich went on TV and said there's nothing wrong with the election. And, he's trying to tiptoe and dance around this thing, but he hasn't fooled anybody, including with that interim report. I'm supporting Blake Masters. I've been public about that. I believe Blake is the exact kind of fighter we need. He says that the election was rigged and stolen. He's calling on Brnovich to do the right thing and actually investigate and actually bring charges as to the election. I know Blake's going to talk about an amazing event he's got coming up tomorrow on the election, on the 2020 election, and on election integrity going forward. So I know Arizona. I've spent a lot of time in Arizona. I know Arizona fighters. Brnovich just has not delivered the fight that the Arizona Patriots expect and demand. Blake is that fighter.
I want to bring in Blake Masters now. Blake, before I talked about this event you got tomorrow, Mayorkas was up, and we had Gates on this morning about this Mayorkas situation. He comes up for hearing yesterday in the House, but you got DHS, and he's setting up a misinformation group. Right after Elon Musk announced he's buying Twitter, all of a sudden President Trump's got Truth Social. He's up. All of a sudden, Mayorkas at DHS is standing up a misinformation group. At the same time, he can't answer any question. No, not one question is a straight question about the invasion of the southern border. The folks in Arizona are just taking the brunt of this. Blake, what's your assessment of Mayorkas, particularly the fact that Axios is reporting this week that House Republicans are already working on a plan to impeach him immediately after we win this massive victory in November, sir?
He absolutely should be impeached. I think what Mayorkas and what the Biden administration has done here at the southern border is criminal. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, it's literally criminal. They want open borders. They want to flood this country with millions of illegals. And then, they want to set up a disinformation board, right? They want open borders, and they want suppressed speech for views they disagree with. I want closed borders, right? The correct amount of illegal immigration is 0, and then free speech. And that's the right spot on the 2x2 matrix, right? You have a real border, you have a real country, and then let people debate. No government ministry of truth. No, thank you. We're going to get rid of that thing and impeach Mayorkas 100%.
Blake, we had a part with Royce White and Mara Monahan talking about Omar in the previous hour, and we ran some clips from MSNBC and CNN today talking about how the black vote is dramatically shifting towards the MAGA movement. Last week, we talked about the Hispanic vote. Do Hispanic citizens in Arizona, regardless of party affiliation, what are their thoughts about this invasion on the southern border, sir?
They don't like it, and they came here legally, right? They want a border wall, even more than white families that live in Arizona. These people came to this country legally, the right way, and they don't want to see it become like the places that they fled from, right? And so I go to South Tucson, I go to South Phoenix, we're door knocking. You talk to these families, they may not be Republican yet, but they're conservative. They don't like the open borders. They don't like this defund the police madness. They don't like all this woke crap in the schools. These people are Republican if we can put forth the right kind of Republican. Like, look at how Trump did. He did excellent with these people, right? They want strength, they want leadership, and that's the exact opposite of what the Democratic Party is offering right now.
So let's talk about your event tomorrow. And I want to talk about the practicality, the nuts and bolts of the campaign. Where are you spending your time? How you think this thing's lining up? And tell us about this big event tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, I have challenged Attorney General Brnovich to a debate. And I don't think he's going to show up, to be honest. We have heard radio silence from his camp. You know, we've had 3 debates, multi-candidate debates in the Senate race so far. I've gone to all of them. I think I've won them all. But whether you think I won or not, it's just important to show up. I think voters deserve that, right? The side-by-side analysis. You get to see and get to know candidates. And Brnovich has skipped them all. I've actually never seen Brnovich in person, literally never seen him in person. And I see everybody. I see, Carrie Lake running for governor. I see her competition. I see Jim Layman, my competitor in the Senate race. I see everybody multiple times because I've done hundreds and hundreds of campaign events. And Brnovich doesn't do these things, I think, because he'd get booed out of the room most of the time because he's so weak on election integrity. But I said, finally, I've had it. Let's just challenge this guy one-on-one to a debate. I didn't think he was going to show up. I guess I'm not shocked, but man, what a disappointment. We're still going to have the party, though. It's going to turn into a mini campaign rally. I'll give a speech about election integrity. We'll open it up for Q&A. It'll be really fun. It's the kind of grassroots voter event that Brnovich can't hold, doesn't show up at. He just campaigns from the safety of a Fox News studio.
Hold it. This I don't understand. You had these candidate forums and debates. Layman shows up. General McGuire shows up. Blake Masters shows up. You guys go at it. You're telling me Brnovich has not been to one of these?
That's right. There was one great one. 4 of us were there. Brnovich didn't show up in Scottsdale in February. After that, we've had 2 more, and Layman has actually missed those last 2. But I'm hoping Layman comes back and is willing to debate me and General McGuire and the other guy in the race, Justin Olson. I think voters deserve it. It's like, you show up. Otherwise, you're going to get this reputation as being afraid to debate. Well, I'm not afraid to debate. I'll debate Brnovich anytime, any place. I'm going to be the best guy to debate Mark Kelly here this fall. Imagine me debating Mark Kelly. I'm going to tie that guy to his left-wing voting record so hard that it won't even be close. I'll beat that guy by 4 or 5 points in the general election. So debating is important. Brnovich is a coward. He refuses to do it.
When you weigh and measure all the candidates, what's your pitch to the people of Arizona? Why you're the best to defeat Kelly? We've got to win that seat. So why are you the best guy?
I think I'm most substantive on the issues. I'm running hard and boldly on this America First MAGA agenda. I know about that, right? You and I worked on the transition team. I was just a humble servant, but man, it was exciting. And we needed that MAGA agenda in 2016. We needed it in 2020. And look how badly the country is suffering because we don't have it. So I'm out there on the issues. I'm out working everybody. I'm doing more grassroots events, more media interviews. I'm out fundraising everybody. And my data shows when people get to know me, when they hear messaging from me and Brnovich and Layman, they choose me by an overwhelming %. So if I can just get out there, get my name known, right, raise the money, get on TV, I'm gonna win in August, and then I'll send astronaut Mark Kelly back to space in November.
Blake, you're too self-effacing. Trust me, on the transition team, you were one of the key guys. You were chief of staff for Peter, coming in on all the administrative state stuff that we did, which was massive. You were absolutely central to that, and we always really appreciate you. Did fantastic work. Blake, how do people find out more about the event? How do they find out more about you?
Absolutely. Just go to blakemasters.com. It has everything you need to know. Sign up, get involved. Hope to see you all soon. So thank you, Steve.
Blake, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Boris, let's talk about Arizona for a second. That's not Kelly. The seat in Arizona and Nevada have to be taken by MAGA. Just no doubt about it. Those are two Senate seats. Why? And I know you support Blake, but I don't understand Brnovich. And here's what I don't understand about this Fox News strategy. A guy like Brnovich is a smart guy. He's got to understand that you just can't hide behind Fox News. That doesn't work anymore, right? What are the mentality of these guys that think they can run campaigns from a Fox News studio in Phoenix?
Thinks he can beat Blake Masters and others in a debate. And Layman hasn't showed up to the last 2 either. This is the establishment way of running campaigns. Oh, well, we don't have to face the others. We don't have to be into it. We don't have to, we don't have to go to bat. And, again, every state is different. In Arizona, Blake Masters is running by talking directly to the people. And the establishment is running away from the people. And that's sad. In a state like Missouri, the establishment tries to put on these little get-togethers that are swamp fest. And then Eric Wright says, no, I'm not showing up. I'll show up to events that are real and that are MAGA. But these honest, true town halls in Arizona, those are a requirement. And I love what Blake said. Hey, I'm here debating. I'll debate anywhere, anytime. I remember, it reminds me, in 2016, I remember the Hillary Clinton spokespeople refused to debate any of us on air, off air, anywhere. They thought they were too good for us. The guy, the Brian Fallon, and all those people. They thought that they were too fancy, too good for us. And I said, hey, I remember I literally went to a reporter from Bloomberg and I said, if you find me a representative of the Hillary Clinton campaign, I think it was at the Las Vegas debate, I will take your whole team to dinner. If you find me a senior staffer from the Clinton campaign to debate me on air, off air, I'm taking all of you to dinner. And you know why? Because we were ready to fight. We were ready to campaign. We weren't scared. Those people were scared. The Clinton people were petrified. They were Brian Fallon and all those other, Robbie Mook, all those pencil necks. They had nothing to bring. We were in January football shape, and they were just hiding, and they were starting their summer tryouts. And that's what's going on over there in Arizona. I think you've got the establishment not wanting to debate, and Blake Masters saying, hey, I'm ready for game day, and this game day is going to make me better when I'm up against Mark Kelly in the general. And I love to see that. I love the heat. I love what Blake's talking about. And I think we have to, as MAGA, think about the future. And a young undergrad Stanford law killer goes a long way in terms of a Senate candidate, and that's who Blake Masters is.
Well, look, Arizona, you got Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Ohio, Arizona, I'm going to tell you, the grassroots out there are hardcore. I keep saying that's the railhead of really MAGA hardcore. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Brnovich or Lehman or Masters or whatever, General McGuire. You've got to interact with out there. It's a different deal. You got to interact with those people. Those people are fired up and they are tough. There's the people who went and sat in that hot convention center and did the full forensic audits. These are great old school, great patriots. Okay, let's go to another Georgia. We started the day with David Perdue coming in hot this morning. I got to tell you, I thought that interview was quite amazing. We got Debbie Dooley now. She's an activist down there in Georgia. Look, Debbie, here's a question. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution came with a poll, and John Ferris did a good job today of kind of deconstructing that poll, but it did have Perdue 27 down. You're an activist. You're a grassroots activist. You give us your assessment of where this race is, and is David Perdue really getting momentum and getting traction with the grassroots?
He is definitely getting traction with the grassroots. His debate performances has helped him extremely well. The polls are wrong, just like the polls in 2016 between Trump and Hillary Clinton were wrong. They were not taking into account the Georgia Republican voters that normally skip the primary, that are going to vote the primary this time to oust Brian Kemp. Every poll is showing, just surveying likely GOP primary voters. It's missing the people that are going to be voting in the GOP primary for the first time. David's got momentum. I originally supported Vernon Jones, but and then I went to David Perdue. I like what I'm seeing from him. He is a fighter. It's coming out. He's taking the fight to Brian Kemp, who betrayed not only this state, but this country. He is one of the most corrupt governors since Roy Barnes, the former Democrat governor. He is strong-arming people. I mean, he's horrible, and he's going down. He'll lose.
Let me ask you, has Perdue gotten this momentum since the debates? And tell me your assessment from the grassroots perspective of Perdue's performance in these two debates.
Oh, I think it's been incredible. I think these debates have been game changers for David Perdue. I communicate with thousands of grassroots activists with my Facebook group, Georgia Trump Republicans, with emails that I have. I'm telling you, they have been real momentum changers for David Perdue. People were skeptical. saying we want to fight it. We're just not sure. But I mean, these debates, he came out swinging. And what's interesting is Kemp is the one that kept pushing David Perdue to debate him. And I can guarantee he wishes he had not have done that now. It's funny.
Debbie, we're going to follow you very closely. John Frederick starts his 50, I think it's 50 cities in 10 days or something. The
Yes.
bus, Captain Bannon's going to be down there for a while. Boris and I are talking about maybe going down there closer to the 24th. How do people follow you, Debbie? How do they get more closely of your assessment of this campaign on a daily basis?
Well, you could actually, if you email me, you can join my email list, Debbie at MainStreetPatriots.us. I'm on Twitter. I have an Android, so I'm not lucky enough to have Truth Social, but I'm at Crimson Tider on Twitter. I'm one of those Alabama fans, but I'm at Crimson Tider on Twitter. And I guess I love Nick Saban so much because he is like, take no prisoners, I'm going to kick your butt attitude. Just like you, Steve.
Debbie Dooley, thank you so much. Honored to have you on, ma'am. Look forward to having you back.
I hope you're on the bus tour. I'm going to be on the bus tour. It starts Monday, and I'm going to be on for all the days, and we sure would like to see you. You're very popular in Georgia.
Well, we're going to get at least Captain Bannon down there. I think Boris and I are going to, I don't know if we're going to make the bus tour. Maybe we make the end of it, but we'll figure it out. We're going to keep you guys, we're going to make it, talk about it on Monday morning. So make sure you stay tuned. Debbie, honored to have you on here, man.
Honor to be on. Thank you.
That's the backbone of this country right now. I tell you what, we're going to get Bossy on tomorrow because it got some high winds out there. Dave Bossy's going to join us in Nebraska. I want to go back to Boris. Boris, that right there is the backbone of this nation,
sir.
Debbie Dooley. This is the that's
No
the
doubt.
backbone of the MAGA movement. You convince Debbie Dooleys of the world, you're going to win. I'm telling you, that's bringing heat. Boris, how do people get to you in the newsletter? Want to thank you for doing this. I'm going to get to Bossy and go back to Nebraska tomorrow morning. We have Cortez tomorrow morning, get Bossy tomorrow morning out in Nebraska. We've got a couple of other surprises. Boris, how do people follow you?
Everybody's got to watch tomorrow morning. Steve, it's been an honor this whole week. We're MAGA Fire Week. We're winning all across the board. BorisCP.com is the website. Super hot. Hot on Getter at BorisCP. On Twitter at BorisCP. Truth Social at Boris. Hottest on the gram, Boris_Epshteyn. Stay strong. God bless. And Shabbat Shalom.
Boris, thank you very much. Okay, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., we're going to fire up again. We got economic analysis. We're going to have geopolitical analysis, national security analysis, and hardcore politics. Be back in the war room, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.